The metallic tang of recycled air and fear coated Mark's tongue. He slammed his body against a stack of humming cargo crates, the vibrations rattling his teeth. His lungs burned, each gasp a ragged saw cutting through the silence of Caravan 5's forgotten lower decks. He could hear them. The heavy, confident stomps of men who got paid to break things like legs and spirits. A gravelly voice, amplified by the narrow corridor, echoed closer. "He can't have gone far. The boss wants him breathing. For a little while, anyway." Mark squeezed his eyes shut. Breathing. What a luxury. Just 3 rotations ago, his biggest problem was a faulty protein synthesizer in his diner's kitchen. Now, he was 30,000 credits in the hole to the Orion Syndicate. A debt accrued in a card game so rigged it was practically performance art. His supposed friend, Daryl, had vanished the moment the cards turned sour, leaving Mark with a pat on the back and a death sentence. Daryl. Mark would remember that. If he lived through the next 10 minutes, the footsteps were almost on top of him. He saw a sliver of darkness between 2 stalls overflowing with off-brand ship parts and what looked suspiciously like black market tentacles. With the last of his energy, he lunged, diving into the shadows. He landed in a heap, the impact knocking the wind from his lungs. He had tumbled directly into the heart of Caravan 5's infamous black market, a chaotic neutral zone where legality was a suggestion and survival was a commodity. The air was a thick soup of conflicting aromas, alien spices that smelled of cinnamon and ozone, the sharp scent of plasma cutter fuel, and the cloying sweetness of illegal narcotics. He scrambled to his feet, trying to blend into a crowd of beings from a dozen different star systems. A hulking, 4-armed creature growled as Mark bumped into it, its voice a low rumble of shifting tectonic plates. "Watch it, soft skin," it grunted, and Mark didn't need to be told twice. He ducked past a merchant selling what he claimed were authentic Earth relics, a collection of plastic forks and bottle caps. His foot caught on something and he pitched forward, his hands flying out to break his fall. He found himself staring at a small, unassuming stall tucked into an alcove, a quiet island in the roaring sea of the market. Behind a simple wooden counter sat a woman. She was, for lack of a better word, purple. A vibrant, deep amethyst purple, from her elegantly wrinkled hands to the skin of her face. Her hair was a startling shock of pure white, coiffed in a style that spoke of old money and quiet dignity. Her eyes, however, were what held him captive. They were wise, ancient, and sparkled with a mischief that felt both dangerous and deeply comforting. On her counter sat an array of what looked like simple Earth-style baked goods. "Well now," she said, her voice a melody with an accent he couldn't place, smooth and warm like aged brandy. "You look like you've been spat out by a malfunctioning teleporter, handsome." Mark glanced over his shoulder. The thugs were momentarily lost in the throng, but they were hunters. They wouldn't give up. "You could say that," he managed, his breath still coming in shallow pants. "Just browsing." The woman's smile was knowing. Her teeth were unnaturally white, a stark contrast to her violet skin. "No, you're not. You're running. And you've run to exactly the right place." She studied him with an intensity that peeled back the layers of his fear, seeing the desperation beneath. "I'm Nana Leum." "Mark," he blurted out, then immediately cursed his stupidity. Giving your real name while being hunted by a crime syndicate was lesson 1 in how to die horribly. Nana tasted the name, rolling it around on her tongue. Tell me, Mark, when did you last have a proper meal?" His stomach answered for him, a loud, pathetic gurgle that echoed his own self-pity. Food hadn't even been a consideration. "Just as I thought," Nana said with a nod. She reached under her counter and produced a cookie. It was utterly ordinary, a perfect circle of golden brown dough, promising butter and sugar and a moment of peace. "Try this. It will bring you luck." Mark eyed the cookie with the deep-seated suspicion of someone who knew nothing on Caravan 5 was free. "What's in it?" "Oh, the usual," Nana shrugged. "Flour, sugar from the Ceti Alpha V cane fields, a pinch of stardust, and a family secret." She winked, a gesture that was somehow both grandmotherly and conspiratorial. "It's a gift." "There are no gifts here," Mark countered, but his traitorous stomach roared its approval. The thugs had reappeared at the far end of the aisle, their heads scanning the crowd. One of them pointed. Not at him, but in his general direction. Time was up. Without another thought, he snatched the cookie from Nana's hand and shoved the entire thing into his mouth. The flavor exploded on his tongue. It was incredible. Buttery, yes, with notes of vanilla and something else. Something exotic and electric that tingled all the way down his spine. He swallowed the last delicious crumb just as a meaty hand clamped down on his shoulder. "Gotcha," the thug grunted. "Thanks for the cookie," Mark managed to say to Nana, his voice tight with impending pain. "But I really have to—" Nana's expression shifted, the grandmotherly charm melting away to be replaced by a look of pure, unadulterated triumph. She clapped her hands together with a resounding crack. "Oh, wonderful. You ate it!" "It is done," she beamed. "You are now officially engaged to my granddaughter." Mark froze, the thug's grip momentarily forgotten. What?" The thug holding him paused, too, his brow furrowing in confusion. Nana rose from her stool, her small frame suddenly radiating an impossible authority. "Everyone!" she called out, her voice cutting through the market's din like a siren. "Bear witness. This human male has consumed the Leum cookie of binding. He is now betrothed to the great house of Leum." A sudden, profound silence fell over the market. Even the haggling stopped. Every eye, in a wide variety of shapes and colors, turned to stare at him. "Lady," Mark hissed, panic clawing its way up his throat. "I don't know what this is, but these guys are about to turn me into a protein paste." The thug spun Mark around. "You're coming with grandmother!" The voice that sliced through the crowd was not a shout. It was a weapon. It was sharp, cold, and commanded instant obedience. The sea of bodies parted, revealing a woman who made Mark's heart stop and then restart at a dangerously high frequency. She was tall, with the same luminous purple skin as Nana, but where Nana was soft curves and wrinkles, this woman was sleek lines and coiled power. Her hair was liquid silver cascading down her back, but her eyes were a blazing, furious green, and they were locked on Nana. She was poured into a form-fitting black and silver suit that did nothing to hide a figure that could start wars. "You have got to be kidding me," she said, her voice low and dangerous. Her gaze flickered to Mark, dismissing him instantly, before returning to Nana. "Tell me you did not do this." The thug, momentarily mesmerized by her arrival, loosened his grip. "What's going on?" Nana's smile was beatific. "Tina, my darling, you're just in time. Meet your fiancé. He just accepted the cookie of binding." Tina, for it could be no one else, closed her eyes and inhaled deeply. The movement caused a fascinating ripple effect across the front of her suit. When she opened them again, her laser-like gaze was fixed on Mark. "You," she said, pointing a perfectly manicured finger at his chest. "Did you have any idea what you were eating?" "I was hungry," Mark stammered, feeling like he'd wandered onto the set of a bizarre galactic soap opera. "And she said it was lucky. And these guys were—" "It is valid," Nana declared with glee. "He ate it of his own free will in the presence of witnesses." The lead thug looked utterly bewildered. Is this man under the protection of House Leum?" Tina's jaw clenched so tight Mark could practically hear her enamel screaming for mercy. "Apparently," she ground out, "he is." The thug dropped Mark's arm as if it were on fire and took a step back, hands raised. "No disrespect, Lady Leum. We had no idea of his affiliation. He wasn't affiliated 30 seconds ago," Tina snapped. "Would someone please explain to me what the hell is happening?" Mark demanded, rubbing his shoulder. "You," Tina said, jabbing her finger at him again, "just agreed to marry me. In my culture, eating that cookie is more legally binding than any paper contract." Mark's brain felt like it was trying to reboot. "But I didn't know." "Irrelevant," Nana chirped. "Ignorance of the cookie does not invalidate the binding." The head thug cleared his throat nervously. "So, the 30,000 credit matter?" Tina shot him a look so lethal it could have peeled paint. "Send the invoice to House Leum. Now get out of my sight before I am forced to forget my diplomatic immunity." The thugs practically vaporized into the crowd. "Thank you," Mark said, a wave of dizzying relief washing over him. I owe you one. Don't thank me, Tina snarled, her attention fully on him now. She looked him up and down, her expression a mixture of disgust and disbelief. I didn't do it for you. I did it because my grandmother just shackled our noble house to whatever you are. I'm a chef, Mark said defensively. Well, a line cook. At the Dockside Diner. Tina actually rolled her eyes. Oh, spectacular. I am now engaged to a human line cook with a gambling problem. I'm standing right here, he protested. A fact I find increasingly unfortunate, she replied. Nana placed a hand on each of their arms. Such fire! Such passion. Come, children, we must discuss the wedding plans in private. There is nothing to discuss, Tina insisted, trying to pull away. We are undoing this. Nana's playful expression vanished, replaced by a sudden, chilling seriousness. You know that is impossible, dear. The cookie of binding can only be nullified by the fulfillment of its purpose, or by death, and I'm sure you wouldn't want your new fiancé to meet with a fatal accident. She patted Mark's cheek. He has such a nice face. Mark swallowed. Hard. Death? She's exaggerating, Tina said quickly, but her eyes told a different story. But we do need to get out of public view, now. She grabbed Mark's wrist. Her grip was like steel. Where are we going? He asked, stumbling to keep up as she pulled him through the market. My ship, she said. The Orion Syndicate may be paid off, but you've just made far more dangerous enemies. Enemies? I just ate a cookie. Do you have any idea who I am? She shot back over her shoulder. Besides my future space wife? He quipped, the sheer insanity of it all making him giddy. She stopped so abruptly he nearly crashed into her. I am Tina Leum, heir to the Leum dynasty, third in line to the Proxima Centauri consensus, and diplomatic ambassador to the Terran Alliance. And thanks to Grandma Dearest, half the galaxy now thinks I'm engaged to you. Just then, his wrist comm chimed. An unfamiliar symbol appeared on the display, a stylized black trident wreathed in purple flames. What's that? Tina asked. No idea. He tapped the message. A holographic projection shimmered into existence. Mark Seidenspinner. Your engagement to the Leum heir is an unacceptable complication. House Pixis demands you surrender yourself for re-education. You have 1 standard hour. Mark stared at the message, then at Tina, then at Nana, who was now happily haggling with a vendor over some blue star-shaped fruit. Is this a normal Tuesday for you people? He asked weakly. More or less, Tina admitted. House Pixis has been trying to force a marriage alliance for decades. They're not taking this news well. By not well, you mean the re-education part involves a high-powered laser, don't you? Probably, Tina said bluntly. And they'll make it messy to send a message. The ground vibrated. The station's PA system crackled. Attention. Security alert level Delta. A diplomatic incident is in progress. All personnel to assigned safe zones. Tina cursed in a fluid alien tongue. They're already making their move. We have to go now. She yanked him into a run, Nana trailing behind them, humming contentedly. They raced through corridors now flashing with red emergency lights. Here! Tina stopped at a sleek airlock marked with an elegant swirling symbol. Authorization, Tina Leum, Protocol 793. The airlock hissed open, revealing the interior of a ship that looked less like a transport and more like a billionaire's fantasy crossed with a stealth bomber. Get in, Tina ordered, shoving him inside. The interior was all clean lines, soft ambient lighting, and materials that seemed to absorb sound. Welcome to the Stellar Grace, Tina said, her voice softening for the first time as she moved to the cockpit. My ship, and for now your prison. It's beautiful, Mark said honestly. You'll stay in the guest quarters, she said, her businesslike tone returning. We need to figure out how to... A chime cut her off. A hologram of a stern-faced, purple-skinned man in ornate robes appeared. Tina, the man said. Is it true? Have you bound yourself to a human? It's complicated, Uncle Varric. House Pixis has filed a formal protest. They threatened to withdraw from the consensus. I made no promises to House Pixis. But you accepted their petition, and now this. His gaze fell on Mark, who suddenly felt very underdressed and very, very human. Nana popped into the frame, startling Varric. "Hello, Varric, dear." "Yes, I found her a wonderful consort." "Isn't he handsome?" Varric looked like he was about to have an aneurysm. "Nana!" "The political fallout is exactly what our house needs," Nana interrupted. "It's time for fresh blood. The council is demanding an explanation," Varric continued, "and Pixis has dispatched representatives." "Assassins," Tina corrected flatly. "I would suggest you make yourself scarce," Varric advised. "We're leaving now," Tina said, ending the transmission. "Did he just call me a target?" Mark asked. "Don't worry," Nana chirped. "Tina will protect you. You're her man now." A loud klaxon blared. The external view screen showed a jet-black ship, bristling with weapons, detaching from a nearby docking bay. "House Pixis," Tina muttered. "They're fast." She strapped into the pilot's seat, her fingers flying over the controls. "Mark, buckle up! This is going to be a bumpy ride!" "This is all because of a cookie," he groaned, fumbling with the restraints. "Welcome to my life," Tina shot back as the ship's engines screamed to life. The Stellar Grace blasted out of the docking bay, energy bolts from the Pixis ship sizzling past the cockpit viewport. "Hold on!" Tina yelled, throwing the ship into a gut-wrenching spin. As they rocketed away from Caravan 5, leaving his old miserable life behind, Mark turned to Tina. "By the way," he said, "what exactly are the duties of a consort?" Tina's green eyes flashed with a dangerous mix of fury and something else he couldn't name. "Right now, your only duty is to not throw up on my console. We'll discuss the rest if we survive the next 5 minutes." From her passenger seat, Nana smiled serenely. "Oh, I have a very good feeling about this match." As another volley of plasma fire lit up the space around them, Mark sincerely hoped she was right. The Stellar Grace bucked like a wild animal. Purple energy bolts from the Pixis interceptor painting the darkness outside. Mark's knuckles were white, his grip on the seat restraints the only thing keeping him from becoming a projectile. "Can't this thing go any faster?" he yelled over the screech of alarms. "Not without turning our skeletons into jelly," Tina retorted, her hands a blur across the holographic controls. "They're military grade. This is a diplomatic yacht with a few upgrades." "Fantastic," Mark muttered. "My life has been upgraded from a B-movie horror flick to a summer blockbuster tragedy." A direct hit rocked the ship, sending a shower of sparks down from a ceiling panel. "Shield integrity at 43%, the ship's calm female AI announced. "Hull breach in Cargo Bay 3. Emergency containment field is active." Nana, looking utterly unbothered, sighed. "Tina, my dear, perhaps it's time you showed your fiancé the true meaning of Leum hospitality." "This is not the time for theatrics, grandmother." Another blast, harder this time, slammed into them. Red lights flashed across the cockpit. "Fine," Tina snapped. She flipped a series of switches above her head. "Mark, take the secondary flight controls." "I don't know how to fly a spaceship." "You don't have to fly it, you just have to hold it steady." She grabbed his hand and pressed it onto a crystalline joystick that glowed with a soft inner light. "Don't let go." The moment his fingers wrapped around it, a warmth pulsed up his arm. The ship's interior lighting deepened to a regal purple, and he felt a strange humming connection to the vessel itself, as if its systems were an extension of his own nervous system. "What is this?" he asked, mesmerized. "Ship-to-pilot neural link," Tina explained, rising from her seat. "It'll hold our course while I take out the trash." She strode to a wall panel and pressed her palm against it. It slid open, revealing a small compartment holding a sleek, silver rifle that looked more like a piece of sculpture than a weapon. "You're going to shoot them?" From inside the ship, Tina's lips curled into a snarl that was terrifyingly beautiful. Not exactly. She grabbed the rifle and headed for the main airlock. Nana calmly moved into the now vacant pilot's seat. "Don't you worry, dear," she said, patting his arm. "Tina is a warrior as much as she is a diplomat. It is the way of our people." The ship lurched again. Mark instinctively tightened his grip on the control stick, willing the ship to stabilize. And to his astonishment, it did. The neural link translated his intent into action. "External airlock cycling," the AI announced. "Vacuum exposure imminent." Mark's eyes shot to the external camera feed. He watched in pure horror as Tina stepped into the airlock chamber. She wasn't wearing a spacesuit, no helmet, nothing but her form-fitting uniform against the cold, unforgiving vacuum of space. "She'll die!" he cried, trying to get up, but the neural link held him fast. "Oh, I very much doubt that," Nana said with a serene smile. "Watch." The outer airlock door slid open. Instead of being violently sucked into the void, Tina stepped calmly out onto the hull of the Stellar Grace. A faint, shimmering purple aura clung to her body, her silver hair flowing behind her as if she were suspended in water. She was walking in space. She raised the rifle, took aim, and fired. A blinding arc of pure energy, not a projectile, leaped from her weapon and slammed into the Pyxis ship. The enemy vessel convulsed, its engines sputtering and dying. "What the hell was that?" Mark whispered. "Energy manipulation," Nana explained, pride evident in her voice. "A gift unique to our species. Tina is a prodigy." Tina fired again, the beam of energy slicing through the Pyxis ship's weapon emplacements. With a final, precise shot, she disabled their communications array, leaving them dead and silent in the void. "Enemy vessel neutralized," the AI stated. Tina walked back to the airlock as casually as if she were returning from a stroll in the park. Moments later, she re-entered the cockpit, not a hair out of place. "That," she announced, "should give us some breathing room." Mark could only stare at her. You were just in space. Without a suit." Tina rolled her eyes. "For humans, that might be a problem. We're Vindara. Our species evolved on a world with an electromagnetic field 10 times stronger than your Earth's. We can project personal energy fields to protect us from environmental extremes." "Like the vacuum of space," Mark said, his mind reeling. "Exactly, though it's draining. I couldn't have kept it up for much longer." She took back her pilot's seat. "You can let go now." Mark released the control stick, flexing his fingers, the phantom sensation of the ship's energy still tingling in his palm. "We're heading to a secure outpost," Tina said, plotting a course. "And then what?" "Then," she said, her expression hardening, "we figure out how to untangle you from my life without sparking an interstellar war." "Or," Nana interjected, "we plan the announcement party. The council will insist, especially after this little display of aggression from House Pyxis." "He's not my consort." "The cookie," Nana said with a wink, "disagrees." "Okay, time out," Mark said, his head spinning. "What exactly did that cookie do to me?" Tina sighed, the sound heavy with frustration. "The cookie of binding is an ancient tradition. It contains a microscopic amount of a psychoactive compound called nexit. It forges a temporary neural link between the giver's bloodline and the recipient." "A neural link? You mean you're in my head?" "Not exactly," Tina said, looking almost uncomfortable. "It's empathic. I can sense your base emotions, fear, anger, attraction. Theoretically, you could sense mine, but humans are typically non-receptive to nexit. In fact," Nana added cheerfully, "most non-Vindara who consume it suffer from, well, rapid cellular decomposition. In other words, a very messy death. You're quite the anomaly, Mark." Mark slumped in his seat. "Great. So I accidentally got engaged to a space princess who can walk in a vacuum. I'm being hunted by her angry ex-suitors, and I ate an alien drug that should have turned me into a puddle of goo. Did I miss anything?" "The empathic bond," Nana reminded him sweetly. "Right. That." The ship shuddered as it jumped to hyperspace, the stars outside stretching into long streaks of light. Tina set the autopilot and unstrapped herself. "You need to rest. I'll show you to the guest quarters." He followed her through the ship's elegant corridors, trying very hard not to stare at the way the silver accents on her uniform traced the curves of her body. If she could sense his emotions, she gave no sign. "Here," she said, stopping at a door that slid open silently. sonic shower, nutrient dispenser, and the bed will auto-adjust to your delightful human physiology. As she turned to leave, he caught her wrist. Wait, that thing you did back there, that was incredible. A flicker of something. Surprise, maybe even pleasure, danced in her green eyes. It's what we do. Well, you saved my life. Our lives. So, thank you. She gave a single sharp nod and pulled her wrist free. Sleep well, Mark? He woke to the violent shriek of alarms. The ship bucked, throwing him from the bed. Proximity alert! Unknown vessel engaged! He scrambled into the black jumpsuit left for him, the material clinging to his skin like a second self. He burst onto the bridge to find Tina wrestling with the controls amidst a shower of sparks from a damaged console. They tracked us, she yelled. Somehow they knew where we were going. We have a traitor. Another blast rocked the ship, more powerful than before. Weapon lock detected, the AI warned. Critical strike imminent. I can't shake them, Tina growled. And I can't go outside again. Their weapons are too strong. She reached under her seat and pulled out a small metallic cylinder that pulsed with a soft purple light. You have to take this. What is it? It's a Nexit core. Pure, crystallized energy. It's what powers our abilities. She pressed it into his hand. It was warm, humming in time with his frantic heartbeat. The cookie created a link between us. It's a long shot, but you might be able to access my abilities through that link. Are you insane? Nana said it would kill me. That was raw Nexit. This is refined, stabilized. It's our only chance, Mark. You survived the cookie, you linked with my ship. You're not a typical human. Another explosion sent them both to the floor. Hull breach in sectors 2 and 4. Life support failing. Try, Tina screamed, her face inches from his. Or we both die right here. Mark stared at the glowing cylinder, then at Tina's desperate, beautiful face. He closed his fist around the Nexit core and squeezed. Nothing. It's not working. Focus, Tina shouted, placing her hand over his. Feel my energy through the bond. Pull it into yourself. Mark closed his eyes, concentrating on the warmth of her hand, the humming core. He felt a faint tingle, then a rush of heat, then a surge of unimaginable power that flooded every cell in his body. His eyes flew open. They were glowing with purple light. Your eyes, Tina breathed in shock. He could feel it. Power. Raw, untamed energy. What do I do? The weapons console, she yelled. Focus the energy through the ship, like I did with the rifle. He slammed his hands on the console. It lit up, responding to his touch. The Nexit flowed from him into the ship, a torrent of raw power. On the view screen, a massive black warship filled their view. Their engines, Tina directed. Visualize the energy striking their engines. Mark focused his will, channeling the energy into a brilliant beam of purple-white light that erupted from the stellar grace. It hit the warship's propulsion system, and the enemy engines detonated in a silent, spectacular fireball. Now their weapons. He redirected the beam, slicing through the warship's cannons like they were made of butter. The enemy ship, crippled and burning, ceased its attack. Mark released the console, the glow fading from his eyes. He slumped in his seat, utterly exhausted, a wave of dizziness washing over him. That was, he gasped, impossible. Tina stared at him, her expression a mixture of awe and terror. No human should be able to do that. She caught him as he started to slide from the chair. Energy backlash. Your body isn't built for this. She helped him stumble toward the ship's medical bay, where a large crystalline chamber filled with softly glowing blue liquid dominated the room. In there, she said. It's a regeneration tank. It'll stabilize you. Do I have to take off the clothes? He asked, his vision blurring. Tina actually smiled. Yes, but I promise not to look. Much. When he regained consciousness, he was floating in the warm, supportive gel. Tina was sitting nearby, studying a holographic display. "How do you feel?" she asked as the liquid drained away. "Better," he said, suddenly aware of his nakedness and quickly covering himself. She rolled her eyes and tossed him a robe. "Nothing I haven't seen before." "Maybe not on a human," he retorted, wrapping the robe tightly. "Fair point," she conceded. "Human males are differently proportioned." He wasn't sure if that was a compliment. "What you did back there," she said, her tone serious now, "it shouldn't have been possible. There are ancient prophecies, myths really, about an outsider who could wield the energy of the Vindara. No one ever believed them." "Great," Mark muttered. "My life wasn't complicated enough." "We need to go somewhere no one would think to look for us," she said, her gaze sweeping over him in a way that made his skin tingle. "And you need training. If you can channel Nexit, you need to learn control before you accidentally vaporize a city block. Are you offering to be my teacher?" "Someone has to," she said, turning away. "And since we're apparently stuck with each other, it might as well be me." Back in the ship's galley, she handed him a steaming cup of something that smelled like cinnamon and starlight. "This will help," she said. He took a sip. It was delicious. "High praise from a line cook," she said without thinking. Mark froze. "Wait, how did you know I was a line cook? I only said I worked at a diner." Tina went still, her back to him. "I must have assumed." "Or," Mark said slowly, "this Nexit bond is a two-way street. You can sense more than just my emotions, can't you? You've been in my head." She turned, her expression guarded. "It goes both ways. Yes, I get glimpses, fragments of memories, thoughts. Your mind is very loud, Mark." "So what have you seen?" he asked, his voice low. A faint purple blush colored her cheeks. "Things I wouldn't dare repeat." He felt his own face heat as he realized what thoughts and feelings she might have glimpsed, especially his unfiltered reactions to her. "Oh, just great. If it helps," she said, her voice softening. "The Nexit also enhances compatible feelings between linked individuals." "Compatible feelings? Like attraction?" She stepped closer, her green eyes locking with his. "The cookie of binding isn't just a political tool. It's meant to forge a bond between compatible mates. It doesn't create feelings that aren't there, Mark. It only amplifies them." The air between them crackled. He could smell her scent, like ozone after a thunderstorm. "Tina," he began, but was cut off by the ship's AI. "Approaching designated coordinates. Preparing for deceleration." The moment was broken. Tina stepped back, her professional mask sliding back into place. "You should get dressed," she said, though her voice was a little shaky. "Back to survival mode," he said, turning to leave. "Mark," she called after him, "what you did, saving us. It was impressive." Coming from her, he knew that was the highest praise imaginable. As he headed to his quarters, he realized the rules of the game had just changed again. This wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about the terrifying, exhilarating, and impossibly powerful connection to the woman who had just saved his life, and whose life he had just saved in return. And he knew, with a certainty that chilled and thrilled him, that things were about to get a whole lot more complicated. 3 weeks later, the Stellar Grace cut through hyperspace. In those 3 weeks, under Tina's relentless and occasionally terrifying tutelage on a remote trading outpost, Mark had been reforged. The constant low-level thrum of Nexit energy in his veins had sharpened his senses, hardened his body, and awakened a confidence he never knew he possessed. He stood at the main viewport, watching the cosmos stream by, when Tina's voice broke his reverie. "Having second thoughts about facing the music?" He turned. She was leaning against the doorframe, clad in the formal purple and silver uniform of her house. It did little to conceal the warrior beneath. "No," he said, closing the distance between them, his hands finding their now familiar place on her waist. "Just wondering which of the dozen political factions that wants me dead I should incinerate first." Her lips quirked into a smile. "You'll do fine. You've mastered Nexit manipulation faster than any Vindara in recorded history." "I had an excellent, if somewhat tyrannical teacher," he said, leaning in to kiss her. The ship's AI interrupted them. "Approaching Caravan 5. Deceleration in 30 seconds." They broke apart, slipping seamlessly into the roles they had practiced. She took the pilot's seat. He took the weapons console, now his designated station. The sprawling bulk of Caravan 5 materialized before them. It looked the same, but Mark was different. He was no longer a fugitive scurrying through its bowels. He was returning as a prince consort, a player in the galactic game. "Opening communications," Tina announced. The face of the station commander appeared on the holographic projector. "House Leum vessel, state your business." "This is Tina Leum," she said, her voice dripping with regal authority. "Requesting priority docking for a diplomatic hearing with the Vindara High Council." "Acknowledged, Lady Leum," the commander replied, his tone respectful. "The consortium representatives await you." Tina's eyes met Mark's. "The consortium? I thought this was a family matter." "Change of plans," he murmured. "Looks like your uncle called in the whole neighborhood." As they prepared to disembark, Nana emerged, a resplendent matriarch in flowing formal robes. "Ready to shake the very foundations of our civilization, children?" she chirped. Before Mark could reply, his personal comm chimed. A text-only message from an untraceable source. It read, "The cookie was just the appetizer. The main course is betrayal. Trust no one." "What is it?" Tina asked, seeing his expression. He showed her the message. "Could be a bluff from Pixis," she mused. "Or," Nana interjected, her playful demeanor gone, replaced by a sudden seriousness, "it could be a warning. Everyone at that table has an agenda, Mark. Even me. The difference is, my agenda includes you breathing tomorrow morning." They exited the ship to a formal honor guard. As they were escorted through the station's opulent upper levels, Mark felt the stares. He was an anomaly, a creature of myth now walking among them. They arrived at the central hall, a massive atrium with a transparent ceiling showing the star-dusted void. At the far end sat 12 figures at a semicircular table, the High Council. In the center, looking grave, was Uncle Varric. "Welcome, niece," Varric announced, his voice echoing in the vast hall. "The council has convened to address this unconventional binding." "May I present Mark Sidenspinner of Earth," Tina said coolly. "My bonded consort by the ancient rites." A wave of murmurs washed through the assembly. "The human who can channel Nexit," a severe-looking councilwoman sneered. "A fascinating myth." "Many myths are rooted in truth, Counselor Mavis," Nana countered smoothly. "As is the prophecy of the outsider wielder." "We are not here to debate children's tales," a tall Vindara from House Pixis snapped, rising from his seat. "We are here to dissolve this farce. My house's petition for binding was under active consideration when this human interfered." "I wouldn't call being starved, terrified, and hunted interference," Mark said, his voice calm but carrying an edge of steel. "And for the record, your cookies probably suck." The Pixis representative's face turned a darker shade of purple. "Enough!" Varric commanded. The Orion representative, a hulking brute Mark recognized as the syndicate boss he'd owed money to, spoke up. "Laws can be bent, especially when one suspects alternative motives. A human with crippling gambling. Debt suddenly becomes consort to the wealthiest heir in the sector? A convenient coincidence." Mark felt the Nexit energy within him begin to crackle, responding to his anger. A restraining touch from Tina on his arm calmed him. "Perhaps," Counselor Mavis said with a cruel smile, "a demonstration of these supposed abilities is in order." Before anyone could react, the main lights in the hall flickered and died. Red emergency lights bathed the room in a blood-colored glow. "What is happening?" Varric demanded. "Security breach," a commander yelled into his comm. "Multiple sectors! The station is under attack!" Chaos erupted. In the confusion, Mark and Tina spun around, searching for Nana. She was gone. "Where's Nana?" Tina cried, her voice tight with panic. A security officer rushed to them. "Lady Leum, we must escort you to a secure location." "Not without my grandmother." "Elder Leum has already been taken to a separate bunker for her safety," the officer said smoothly. "Protocol." Mark and Tina locked eyes. The anonymous message screamed in his mind. "Trust no one." "Lead the way," Mark said, his hand subtly moving to the Nexit core hidden in his jacket. The officer led them away from the chaos, down a series of maintenance corridors. "Where are you taking us?" Tina demanded. "Lower-level bunker," the officer replied without turning. Mark let the Nexit flow through him, heightening his senses, linking his mind with Tina's. "Now," he thought. "Stop," Mark commanded. The officer turned, his hand inching toward a sidearm. "Is there a problem?" "Yeah," Mark said, letting a flicker of purple energy dance across his fingertips. "The real station security have bio-monitors woven into their uniforms. Yours is a cheap knockoff." The man's face twisted into a sinister grin. "Clever, but too late." He tapped his comm, and 6 armed figures dropped from concealed positions in the ceiling, surrounding them. "House Pixis sends their regards," the fake officer said. "It's nothing personal." "It feels pretty personal from where I'm standing," Mark replied. He unleashed the Nexit energy he'd been gathering, not as a blast, but as a silent, invisible wave. The attackers' energy weapons sparked and died. Their comms went silent. In the moment of their confusion, Tina moved. She was a whirlwind of motion, a graceful, deadly dance. 2 men went down before they even knew what hit them. Mark took on the other 3, his Nexit-enhanced strength and speed a shocking surprise. He moved with an instinct he didn't know he had, a lethal grace born of desperation and training. The fake officer, seeing his plan crumble, drew a wicked-looking blade and lunged for Tina's back. "Tina!" Mark yelled. He didn't have time for a physical attack. He focused his will, channeling the Nexit into a tight beam and firing it from his outstretched hand. The beam struck the knife, superheating the metal in an instant. The officer screamed as the blade glowed white-hot, the handle melting in his grasp. Tina spun. A single, precise strike to the man's throat, sending him to the floor unconscious. They stood back to back, breathing heavily amidst the groaning bodies of their attackers. "Nice move, Chef," Tina said, a grin touching her lips. "Line cook," he corrected automatically. "And you weren't so bad yourself, Princess." The station alarms blared. "We have to find Nana," Tina said. "This was a coordinated effort to separate us." Mark knelt by the fake officer. "Where is she?" The man coughed blood. "Wrong question. The right question is, who benefits most?" Mark stood, his mind racing. "He's right. We need to go back to the council chamber, now." "Why?" "Because," Mark said, a cold certainty settling in his gut, "the attack isn't coming from outside the family. It's coming from inside." They slipped back into the central hall to find it transformed into a command center. In the middle of it all, directing troops and barking orders, was Uncle Varric. "Uncle!" Tina called out, striding forward. Varric spun around, his face a mask of surprise and relief. "Tina, you're safe!" That officer was an assassin sent by House Pixis, Mark finished for him. Or so he claimed. "Where is my grandmother?" Tina demanded. "I don't know," Varric said. "She disappeared when the attack began." A smooth voice answered from the entrance to the hall. "I'm right here, darling. And I am so very disappointed in you, Varric." Nana strode into the chamber, flanked by 24 elite warriors in the golden armor of the Leum House Guard. She was completely unruffled. "Nana!" Tina rushed to embrace her. "How Did you really think I would come to a den of snakes unprepared? Nana said, patting her cheek. She turned her steely gaze on Varric. I knew you would make a move today, nephew. Varric's face contorted with rage. Security, arrest them! Not a single station officer moved. The station commander stepped forward. I don't think so, Counselor. Falsifying a station-wide security alert is a serious crime. The breaches were simulated. The command codes originated from your personal terminal. All eyes turned to Varric. Uncle, Tina whispered, her voice filled with disbelief and dawning horror. You don't understand, Varric pleaded, his composure shattering. The prophecy is real. It was never about unity. It was about absolute power. Power no single person, especially not a volatile human, should possess. You knew, Mark realized. You knew I could channel Nexit. We suspected, Varric snarled, and we had to take control before you could. Control of what? Tina demanded. Mark approached the council table, Nexit energy swirling visibly around him, a purple aura of undeniable power. He's not afraid of me abusing the power, Mark said, his voice echoing with a strange resonance. He's afraid I'll use it to change things, to break the old system he controls. He addressed the entire council. I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask for any of it. I was just a guy who was hungry and scared and took a cookie from a kind old woman. But I am here now, and I am bonded to your heir, and I have this power. You can fight that, and I promise you, you will lose. Or you can work with us. Silence. Then Counselor Mavis spoke. The prophecy speaks not only of the wielder's power, but of his wisdom. Perhaps we should listen. A murmur of agreement went through the council. Varric, defeated, slumped in his chair. Mark moved to stand beside Tina and Nana, a united front. Here's what happens now, he declared. House Leum will honor all existing alliances. My binding to Tina Leum stands, recognized by law and by the Nexit itself. He held up his hand, a miniature star of purple energy blazing in his palm. And I give you my word, I will use this power not for one house, but for the prosperity and stability of all of you. A new era begins today, not through betrayal and conflict, but through partnership. 3 months later, Mark stood on the observation deck of Caravan 5, watching the ships come and go. Under their new joint leadership, the station was a thriving hub of commerce and diplomacy. Admiring your new kingdom? Tina's voice was a warm presence behind him. She wrapped her arms around his waist. Our kingdom, he corrected, turning to face her. Though some days, I still feel like that line cook running for his life. Good, she said, pulling him close. It keeps you grounded. Remind me why we can't just take a week off and go to that beach resort on Proxima Centauri? Because, she said, we have the Terran trade delegation tomorrow, the Nexit cultivation project review on Wednesday, and... He silenced her with a kiss. Rhetorical question, princess, she smiled against his lips. You've taken to this surprisingly well for a guy who got a promotion by eating a cookie. I had a good teacher, he murmured. A familiar, cheerful voice interrupted them. Am I interrupting? Nana asked, striding onto the deck. Always, Tina replied dryly. Excellent. Well, cancel your schedules. I've arranged a family retreat to the ancestral estate on Vindara Prime. It's high time we started discussing the next generation of Leum leadership. Tina groaned. Grandmother, oh, hush. At least get some practice in, Nana said with a wink before sweeping away, leaving them in an amused silence. She's incorrigible, Tina said. She's also right, Mark said, leading her to the viewport, where the endless sea of stars glittered. About the vacation, I mean. Tina leaned her head against his chest. How did we get here, Mark? From that day in the market to this? You know exactly how, he replied with mock seriousness. Your grandmother gave me a cookie. Their laughter echoed across the observation deck, a sound of shared history and a future yet unwritten. Thank you for watching this journey into the cosmos. If you enjoyed this story and want to see what happens next for Mark and Tina, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss a single adventure. We've got a universe of stories to explore, and we want you to be a part of it. Drop a comment below and let us know what you think of Mark's unexpected promotion. Until next time, stay curious and keep watching the stars.